Hi everybody, thanks for visiting my YouTube channel. I'm CyrusWashington, aka Like Dynamite. Today we're going to go over straight punches. We're going to go over straight punches with the lead hand and with the rear hand. In Western boxing, with the lead hand it's called a jab, and with the rear hand it's called a straight right or cross. So we'll start with the jab. Have your hands up, and we'll start in a neutral stance or neutral footing position, to where both of my feet will be flat. Now you got different possibilities or different options, I should say, to the way you want to throw a jab. Now if your opponent is far from you, you should and have to step while you're throwing the jab. So you'll step and jab and come back to your starting position, to your starting spot. So step and jab, come back to your starting spot. In a back stance, you got different options again, to where you can maybe fake a knee, depending on the rules you're fighting in. But you can fake a knee and flick a jab, or you can just step and jab, depending on the range or the distance your opponent is from you. And in the front stance, because you'll be leaning forward a little bit, most of your weight will be on your front leg in the front stance, you probably won't have to step before you flick or throw the jab. So you might be able to just throw the jab or flick it. And if your opponent is far away from you and you want to hit them with a jab, then you have to step and come back. I'll show you from a side view. Come back. Come back. That's throwing a jab, like a basic jab, and then this is flicking the jab, like Muhammad Ali used to do. Just flick it out there. Come back. Show you the other way. If your opponent is far away from you in the front stand, you still have to step. Step and throw the jab, come back. Or step and flick the jab, and come back. Now that's throwing the jab from the front stance, whereas now I'll show you the back stance from each angle. In the back stance, most of my weight from my back leg and my front leg really light. Now I got a couple different options where I can either step or stay in place and just throw the jab, or maybe I can throw a fake with my lead leg. Because it's so light, I can just lift my knee up to get my opponent's attention and then throw the jab. I can lift it and step with the jab as well. The back stance. I can lift my knee and step with the jab, or I can lift my knee and just jab, or I can just step and jab, or I can just jab. Those are just a few options while throwing the jab from a back stance. Now I'll show you the side views or different angles in the neutral stance when throwing the jab. I have most of my weight on both feet, or equal weight on both feet. My body weight will be equalized to both feet. I can choose to be on the balls of my feet, or I can be flat-footed. If my opponent is far away from me, then it's smart to step when I throw the jab so I don't miss and leave myself open. So again, my opponent has a pretty good range on me, or he's a good distance away. I'll step and throw the jab and come back. If my opponent is not so far away from me, then I'll just throw the jab and come back to my starting position. Always bring your hands directly back from your face. Go from point A to point B and back. From point A to point B and back. Always, when throwing any punch. If my opponent is far away from me, I'll step when I throw the jab. If he's not far away from me, then I'll just throw the jab. My hand will lead from point A to point B and back. From point A to point B and back. Now that's throwing the jab from a back stance, a front stance, and a neutral stance. Next, I'll cover throwing a straight right or a right cross from a back stance, a neutral stance, and a front stance. So we'll start with the front stance, throwing a straight right. Now in the front stance, most of my weight's on my front leg and my rear leg's really light. When throwing a straight right, the punch starts from your foot. Some people call it kinetic linking, to where your lower body, like the energy from the ground and from the earth, works up into your body, and it ends at the end of the punch. In the front stance, remember that your front foot's pointing forward and your back foot more at an angle, almost pointing directly forward, but not completely forward. punch starts from your foot and it works its way up. It works its way up in there. Now if your opponent's close to you, you don't have to step when you throw the punch. You just throw the punch and come back. Remember, it leaves from point A to point B and back to point A. Don't punch and let your hand drop and come back. Then you leave yourself open and get hit. From point A to point B and back. From point A to point B and back. Throwing the punch and dropping it and coming back is a big no-no. You don't do that. My opponent's close to me. I just punch and back. Punch and back. If he's far away from me, I'll step. Punch and back. Punch and back. My opponent's close to me. Punch and back. Remember, the punch starts from here. Start to move the lower body first. Start to twist it into the punch. It's almost as if your hands are wrecking ball connected to a chain. And the chain goes all the way, starts down at your foot. You start to move the chain first, and the wrecking ball is the last thing to hit, okay? So move the lower body first, punch and back. Punch and back. If my opponent's further away from me, I'll step with my lead leg and back. I just punch. When I punch, I make sure I pivot on my rear leg. If my opponent's far away from me, I'll step. But I always make sure to pivot on the rear leg. That's a straight right from a front stance. Now I'll show you straight right from a neutral stance. In a neutral stance, the weight's equal on both of my legs. You throw the punch and back. If my opponent's far away from me, I'll step, throw the punch and back. Step, throw the punch, and back. Make sure you pivot completely and turn your core into the punch so you get all your power into it. And it's more effortless that way if you turn your core into the punch. If my opponent's far away from me, I'll step. Next, I'll show you a straight right from a back stance. Now in the back stance, most of my weight's on my back leg. This will be a little different when throwing a straight right in a back stance because most of your weight's on your back leg. And normally when throwing a straight right, you want the rear leg to be light. So what you have to do is you have to shift your weight to your front leg by stepping a little bit if your opponent's close to you. And if your opponent is far away from you, then you'll step more than a little bit. You'll step enough to make sure you make contact with your opponent when throwing the straight right. So you start in the back stance. If my opponent's close to me, I have to shift the weight to my front leg by stepping just a little bit. Punch, and I come back to my back stance. Now my opponent's far away from me, I want us to take a bigger step. Now I'll pretend that my opponent's farther away from me. So I'll take a big enough step to make sure I make contact with my opponent. Next, I'll show you a punch that's usually used in martial arts like Taekwondo, Shotokan, and Karate. It's called a reverse punch. But I don't rule it out using it in ring sports like kickboxing and Muay Thai, or even Western boxing. Now with the reverse punch, you can be in any of the stances that you want to be, whether it's neutral, back stance, or front stance. The only difference in throwing a reverse punch is more of a snap and it's more of just your shoulder and arm into the punch instead of your entire body. All you gotta do is you'll still step a little bit, shift your body weight to your front leg, but the difference is that you don't have to worry about the kinetic linking or worry about the punch starting from your foot. So just step enough to let the body weight shift to your front leg and just snap the punch out there. If you notice that my foot's not pivoting as much as it did with the straight right. So I'm not committing myself or over-committing the punch by using the reverse punch when I fight someone. But they both should be used when you fight. I don't want you to just pick and say, okay, I'll only use one punch. Use both of them when you fight. Always keep an open mind.